All right, so since Mr. Smith says I have to start at 7 o'clock, we'll get started. So, I'd like to call the October 16th, 2023 Sutton Town meeting to order. If I could have everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I usually open up with something cute about the Patriots and the Red Sox, but apparently that's not going to work tonight.
Go Bruins!
Go Bruins! All right, so let's go into it. So tonight, I'm going to use a similar opening to the ones I've used previously, just because I see a number of new faces around. So first of all, I'd like to thank all of you who are attending tonight, especially those who are experiencing their first town meeting in Sutton. Given this, I'll review how the entire process works. When you walk through the door, all of you should have received a packet called the warrant. Within the warrant are articles that detail exactly what you are voting on. For each article, a motion is made by the corresponding presenter of the article. Some of these motions will refer to the wording within the article or the warrant itself. Others, again, will directly refer to the warrant. I'm hoping everyone has familiarized themselves with the articles, so you understand exactly what you are voting for, or in some cases against. Once a motion is made, I will ask for a second. From there, I will ask for a recommendation from the Warrant and Finance Committee, and also the Planning Board if it does pertain to their jurisdiction. We'll then open it up for discussion prior to the vote. It is at this time one can express their opinions if one wishes to do so. Once the discussion phase is complete, I will call for a voice vote of yay or nay. Although I know this meeting was well advertised with mailers, signs, and placards, I'm hoping the townspeople further educated themselves by reviewing the warrant, in particular articles via the town's YouTube channel. I myself will freely admit that I cannot go to all of the meetings, and I find the YouTube option very good, especially the fast forward button. One of the major improvements in providing information on articles is a review by Jim Smith and Jen Hagar. I think that is excellent. Even I refer to it. So it's a very good way for people to kind of figure out what we are voting on. Again, all of this is readily available on the town's website, www.suttonma.org. I asked that anyone addressing an article for discussion to please go to the microphone situated right in the back there. There you go, perfectly. Please state your name and address for the record. Please make sure you speak directly into the microphone and use your shower singing voice. Please try not to turn your head when you talk because, again, the tens of hundreds of people that are going to watch this in the future want to hear your question or what you have to say. I will limit debate on any article by an individual to 3 minutes during the discussion phase. I ask that you keep all comments centered on the article and away from disparaging remarks towards individuals or committees. I hope everyone understands that we're all here for the betterment of our town. Please respect all individuals who are expressing thoughts and opinions during the discussion phase. Also need to talk through some of the general rules followed for today's proceedings. Non-residents or non-voting members of the audience should be seated in the first few rows to my right, which they are. Good job, people. If you are a non-voting member and you're in another part of the auditorium, just please move over to the right-hand side. For the record, the town of Sutton has adopted Chapter 39, Section 15 of the general laws, requiring a 2/3 vote by statute. The vote need not be counted unless the reported results of the vote are immediately questioned by 7 or more registered voters in attendance at this meeting. If questioned, a follow-up vote will be done by hand vote and with an appointment of tellers. I'm hoping we don't need to get to that point. I will dispense with the reading of the warrant. The town clerk will note the return of the warrant was properly posted and properly returned.
Yes, it was.
Thank you, Laura. With that confirmation, we now move on to Article 1, sponsored by the Select Board.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer $350,000 from free cash to the OPEB expense account.
Second. Thank you. Finance Board Advisory Committee, your recommendation?
The Finance and Warrant Advisory Committee voted 6-0-1, one being we have an abstention, to recommend passage of this article. This is the annual transfer to OPEB from free cash as outlined in the funding policy set forth by the town. And many people have asked, what does OPEB stand for? It's Other Post-Employment Benefits, basically health insurance.
Thank you. It's now open for discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 1 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 1 passes by unanimous vote. Article 2.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer $150,000 from free cash to the Special Education Tuition Stabilization Fund.
Second.
FinCom, your recommendation?
The committee's recommendation was 6-0-1, again, 6 in favor, 1 abstention, to recommend passage of this article. The transfer is to fund the Special Education Stabilization Fund.
Okay. And now open for discussion. Yes, sir.
I'm Brian Stevenson, 664 Central Turnpike. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't plan on coming up here and asking a question, but I think it's on everybody's mind. I want to know, we've got 85 migrants living at the Red Roof Inn, correct? Can somebody verify that? Nobody? Nobody?
Yes.
No? Yes?
Yes.
It's difficult to get that answer, thank you. My question is, and again, I didn't think about this question before, but it pertains to all these warrants that are coming up tonight. I want to know what the bottom line is in terms of how much that has cost the citizens of Sutton, and if you can, break it down to each bill and let us know where it's affecting that bill. Special education is probably one of them. Can you forward that to us?
Anybody clarify that before?
I mean, this is a big thing.
I believe there's 27 families currently in Sutton. As far as the total number, a little over 100. The governor came out today saying that the state is full. No kidding. They've capped it at 7,500 families. Right now, there are over 7,000 families in Massachusetts. As far as the impact on the budget, right now, not that much. In fact, this year, we probably made more on the hotel tax than we have in previous years. The problem is, after a month or so, the state will no longer pay the hotel tax. So that will be a loss in revenue. As far as special ed, there are no special ed students in the children joining the schools. So this is just a normal transfer per the Board of Selectmen's policy. Currently, the school department's receiving $104 per day per student. I don't know that that will be enough if it's a long-term solution or a long-term issue that we have to deal with, to be honest with you. I defer to the school department. I think they are doing a nice job handling this. But all of these people are here in the country legally. They all have passports. They all have sponsors. They all flew into the country. And now, because the state of Massachusetts has a right to shelter by a law, the powers that be at the state level feel that we're required to find shelter for them. They are looking at colleges that have closed and reusing dormitories. And obviously, we have one shelter. There are 90 communities that are being impacted, and we've got 26, 27 families here in Sutton. To be honest, it's hard to break out the impact. Right now, the National Guard is running that facility. We've had nothing to do with it. Up to this point, the first 6 weeks, we had a lot to do with it, and it was done with Paul Maynard and Cheryl Wawinski and other staff that have helped out. But we've left that and left it to the National Guard. All press now goes to the National Guard, and from that aspect, we're done with it.
Okay, thank you. Again, I didn't come up here planning on asking this question, but it does affect what we're voting on, in my mind. It
It
could.
does, really, this article doesn't really address that particular one because we're talking about special education. We're
Yeah.
not talking about new people moving into town or that situation, but
Okay.
thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 2, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Article 1 passes by majority vote. Article 2. Article 3.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer $100,000 from free cash to the Health Insurance Stabilization Fund.
Second motion.
Thank you. Finance Warrant Advisory Committee, your recommendation?
Moderator, the committee voted 6-0-1, again, one abstention, to recommend passage of this article. This money will come from free cash and be transferred into the Health Insurance Stabilization Fund.
Now open for discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 3, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed?
Nay.
Article 3 passes by majority vote. Article 4.
Mr. Moderator, I move that a town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $69,500 for the purpose of contributing the town's share of funds to be used to acquire from Meridia Farms Incorporated an agricultural preservation restriction to be held jointly by the town and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in a parcel of land located at 226 Putnam Hill Road, Sutton, Mass., containing a total of 75.57 acres, more or less, and described in a deed recorded with the Worcester South District Registry of Deeds, Book 4531, page 213, and to authorize the Select Board to acquire said agricultural preservation restriction by purchase, gift, and/or eminent domain on such terms and conditions as the Select Board deems appropriate, and further, to authorize the Select Board to enter into all agreements and execute on behalf of the town any and all instruments as may be necessary or convenient to effectuate the purpose of this article.
Second.
FinCom, your recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 7-0 to recommend passage of this article. This is the town's share of the funds combined with the Commonwealth's funds to preserve 75.57 acres of open land.
Thank you. Now open for discussion. Cookies are good. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 4, and this is 2/3 required vote. All those in favor of Article 4, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Article passes by unanimous vote. Article 5.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer the following amounts from line items in the FY 2024 budget and approve payment of the prior year invoices as follows. P. Pellegrino Trucking Company Incorporated, $1,449. Transfer Station T6100445-54000. Go Tree Services for $2,000. Sewer account T6000441-59486.
Second.
Thank you. FinCom, your recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 7-0 to recommend passage of this article as the books for FY23 are closed. This is a housekeeping article to pay prior year's invoices.
Open for discussion. All right, this will require the infamous 4/5 vote. All those in favor of Article 5, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Are any opposed? Article 5 passes by unanimous vote. Article 6.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $45,000 for the purpose of conducting a fiscal 2025 revaluation of property values as required by the Massachusetts Department of Revenue.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Board Advisory Committee, your recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 7-0 to recommend passage of this article. This is to fund the cost of property reevaluation update, it's a 5-year reevaluation which is mandated by the state.
Open for discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 6, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 6 passes by unanimous vote. Article 7.
Mr. Moderator, if I may, I'd like to move the town vote to authorize the Select Board to petition the General Court for a special act to authorize the Board of Assessors to grant property tax abatement for active duty military personnel as printed in the warrant, provided, however, that the General Court may make clerical or editorial changes of form only to the bill unless the Select Board approves amendments to the bill before enactment by the General Court, and provided further that the Select Board is hereby authorized to approve amendments which shall be within the scope of the general public objectives of this petition.
Thank you. FinCom, your recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 7-0 to recommend passage of this article. This is the Military Foreign Service property abatement.
Okay. Open for discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 7, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Article 7 passes by unanimous vote. Article 8.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend bylaw number 18 of the general bylaws, use of public right-of-way, by adding a new section, 18.3, prohibition on use of engine compression brakes as printed in the warrant.
Second that.
Warrant Advisory Committee?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 7-0 to recommend passage of this article. This is a noise reduction in the residential area.
Open for discussion.
George Morgan, 454 Boston Road. I would like to see this amended to identify large vehicles, commercial vehicles, trucks. I have 3 manual transmission vehicles. Both my wife and I still downshift when going down a number of hills around here. Maybe it's because we're old and creaky. I don't think we really disturb any people. I don't think most people can even tell we're doing it. We feel it's a safety measure which reduces the speed prior to coming to a halt. It also saves wear and tear on the braking system. And I feel that this is not well thought out and addresses a large group of people who may still want to do this, while really the issue is large vehicles. My 2 cents. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Mary Montecalvo, and I live on 472 Central Turnpike. And we've been there since 1976. Nice quiet country road, trucks going by, that's fine. All of a sudden, we have so many trucks that are going up and down the hill. One day, it was so bad with these air brakes that I wanted to go out in the middle of the street and tell them to stop. Our house is located, excuse me, about 75 yards away, and we have to stop talking in my kitchen when the trucks are coming down the hill. This is definitely interfering with our peace and quiet. I don't expect it to be total silence, but this is outrageous what we're having to deal with. We have somebody on the corner who just built a house that she's ready to move because it wakes her up at 4 o'clock in the morning with the trucks going down the hill. I don't know why they have to use the brakes there. It's not that much of an incline. We've never, ever had that problem before. I wish everyone would please vote yes on this to restrict them, and if the police want to park in my driveway, the town will make a lot of money. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of Article 8, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Aye. I would say it passes by majority vote. Thank you. Okay, you have that option. So you just need 6 of your good friends to stand next to you. And does anybody question the count? Just stand up, please. It makes my life so much easier. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Well, this becomes a little bit complicated, but we can do it. We can sit down. That's fine. What we're going to do now is we're going to have to appoint tellers. And we'll have to do is a hand vote. So you're going to have to give us a few minutes to get that underway, and then we'll do a hand vote and get the vote out. Okay? The way everybody knows it's fair and square. So please hold. So Laura and I can find our time. Mr. Heber, can I ask you to be one of the tellers, please? Can you be one of the tellers, please? Mr. Toll? Chief, can you be one of the tellers? We've got John Greenlaw over here, and we need one more person. And I'd love to appoint. I did see Mr. Weaver here. Mr. Weaver, would you like to be one of our tellers? All you're doing is just accumulating votes. I know you're very, very good at that. Yeah? There'll be no speeches, nothing. So if you can come over here to get sworn in, what we'll do is we'll go by sections. Ross, gotta be open to
Bring her finances committee.
Ross is going to go. He's just doing this portion right here, so right where Ms. Smith is forward, right? Dennis, you can do that middle section there. John, the left side here. And then we have Ross on the right side, which is pretty much the smallest group. Okay? And Mr. Hebert is going to do the people on the stage as well. All right? So what we're going to do is ask all those in favor of this to please put up your hand. Every once in a while, I love the curveball. You know, keep us all honest. Okay, are we all set? All those opposed to the article, please raise your hand. After a hand vote, we have the yeses at 99 and the noes at 21. So the article passes by majority vote. Okay. With that, we'll go on to Article 9.
Mr. Moderator, I move that a town vote to approve Article 9 as printed in the warrant.
Second that.
FinCom, your recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted, I'm sorry, I apologize. The committee voted 7-0 to recommend passage of this article. This is for the improvement and expansion of Boston Road.
Okay. Open for discussion. All right, this will require a 2/3 required vote. All those in favor of Article 9, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Article 9 passes by unanimous vote. Article 10.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to approve Article 10 as printed in the warrant.
I'll second that.
It's now open for discussion. Oh, sorry, FinCom, let's let them talk.
The committee voted 7-0 to recommend passage of this article. Again, this is to improve and expand Boston Road.
Now open for discussion. Yes? No? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 10, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Article 10 passes by unanimous vote. Article 11.
Robert Nunnemacher, 24 Singletary Ave, member of the Board of Assessors. I move that the town vote to approve Article 11 as printed in the warrant.
I'll second that.
Thank you. FinCom, recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 6-0 to recommend passage of this article. This is a CPI adjustment for senior citizen property tax exemption.
Okay. Now open for discussion.
Mr. Moderator, this is to clarify the abatements that we grant for elderly people in the town of Sutton.
Thank you for the clarification. Anyone else with any questions or discussion? No? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 11, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Article 11 passes by unanimous vote. Article 12.
William Talcott, 17 Marsh Road, member of the planning board. Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend bylaw number 5 of the general bylaws, earth disturbance and removal as printed in the warrant.
I second that.
Thank you. FinCom, recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 6-0 to recommend passage of this article. The committee concurs with the planning board's recommendation.
Okay. Planning board, your recommendation?
Planning board voted to recommend that town meeting vote to approve this Article 500. These are minor formatting and typographical corrections that do not affect the bylaw content in any way.
Thank you. Open for discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 12, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Article 12 passes by unanimous vote. Article 15.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend the zoning bylaw section 1B definition by deleting the language shown in the strike-through and adding the underlined text as printed in the warrant.
I second that motion.
FinCom, your recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 6-0 to recommend passage of this article. The committee concurs with the planning board's recommendation.
Planning board, your recommendation?
Planning board voted to recommend that town meeting vote to approve this Article 500. This is a recommendation of town council to ensure that definitions in both the general and zoning bylaws are consistent to avoid confusion and misinterpretation.
Okay, open for discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 13, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Article 13 passes by unanimous vote. Article 14.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend the zoning bylaw section 384, table 1, section G, by deleting items 6 and 7 and replacing them as printed in the warrant.
FinCom, recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 6-0 to recommend passage of this article. The committee concurs with the planning board's recommendation.
In planning board, the results of your hearing?
Planning board voted to recommend that town meeting vote to approve this Article 500. This change makes the name of the use in the use table correspond to that in the bylaw section that regulates this use to ensure consistency in the references across the bylaw.
Open for discussion. With none, all those in favor of Article 14, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Article 14 passes by unanimous vote. Article 15.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend Section 4C of the zoning bylaw, site plan review, by adding subsection 7, low-impact development, LID, minimum requirements, and renumbering the remainder of the section as necessary as printed in the warrant.
Board Advisory Committee, your recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 6-0 to recommend passage of this article. The committee concurs with the planning board's recommendation.
The Planning Board, your recommendation?
Planning Board voted to recommend that the town vote to approve this Article 500. Low-impact development or LID practices are use or mimic natural processes primarily with respect to stormwater management. LID practices seek to offset the increased burden on drainage systems which result in flooding, reduce groundwater and river-based flows and degraded water quality. The regulations include incentives to encourage their use.
Open for discussion.
Christine Watkins, 65 McClellan Road. Can someone just explain what the size of a project for 5,000 square feet of earth disturbance would be? Would that be a single-family home? Would that be a building of certain size? What is the kind
Is there
of...
someone from the Planning Board that can answer that question? Please. Won't get you all yet, Janet. Get ready.
So I'm going to defer to the planning coordinator as she has better knowledge of this than I do and can explain it better.
Okay. You're up. So we're introducing Jen Hagar, our Development and Economic Coordinator.
Hello.
No,
There you go. My name is Jen Hager. I'm the Community Development Director for the town of Sutton. 5,000 square feet is about the amount of earth removal for a typical 4-bedroom, single-family home with a septic system and a swimming pool times 2. So if you're just doing one single-family home with a septic system...
Excuse me, could you talk into the microphone?
Oh, sorry. If you're just doing one single-family home with a septic system and a swimming pool, you won't trigger this bylaw. It's about the amount of earth disturbance involved in twice that amount. So this would generally kick in when you're doing small and larger commercial developments from the ground up, not renovations. So it's not really intended to impact typical single-family home development. That answer the question?
Mike McGovern, 234 Manchop Road. For me to agree to Article 15 and give up rights to my property, there are many concerns. She just described 5,000. She just described 5,000 square feet as a light commercial project. Most homes with a garage have a 3,000 square foot footprint, and with the driveway, they reach 5,000 square feet. This doesn't just govern new construction, it also governs existing properties. It says right here, the following minimum LID requirements are required on all new development sites and redevelopment sites. That's all our homes, all our land. It's remodeling projects, it's driveway, it's any earthwork. Most lots in this town are 60,000 square feet. If you disturb more than 5,000 square feet, we'll be giving up our rights. And we'll have to file with the planning board, hire engineers. This will come at grave cost. This will have an impact on the future of people that can't afford to live in this town. I am not in favor of this, and I think that 5,000 square feet is a very small number for disturbance, and it should be considered to be much greater than that. Otherwise, this will have a huge impact on all of us. Thank you.
Mike, if I might, Mike would know square footage way better than me because he's very well-known builder. This calculation was done with the building commissioner. And the one thing that is missing in the description is that this is a provision of site plan review. Site plan review does not apply to single-family homes. So because this section is being inserted as a section of site plan review, single-family home development is automatically excluded. So that's another reason why it wouldn't apply to single-family homes, because single-family home development is specifically excluded from the very bylaw this section is being inserted within. So site plan review only applies to multifamily development, commercial development, renovations with 5 or more parking spaces, or up to, I believe it's a 200 square foot plus additions. And again, single-family homes are excluded from site plan review. So this provision, because it's included in site plan review, will not apply to single-family home development. And it does apply to redevelopment of other uses that fall under site plan review, but again, only if they're deserving 5,000 square feet or more.
So Jen, where does it say it doesn't include residential? Is that somewhere else?
It's in site, this section is being inserted into site plan review. If you look at the very first section of site plan review, the bylaw this is being inserted into, it gives exclusions from site plan review, and one of the exclusions is single-family home development.
All right, well, that's a big change. It just wasn't in there.
Yeah, you're right, Mike.
In a lot of the towns, it includes residential homes.
Yes.
And I see the impact in what it costs, and also the tax base, because now engineers review, so if this doesn't include, if it does not include residential home, I would have a different feel and would approve it.
It does
So thank
not
you for that
include
clarification.
that, but you're right, we should have included that in the description, and you know where to find me.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Great question.
Sure you don't want to sit on the end of it?
Hi, my name is Jessica Bruno, 37 Putnam Hill Road, and I agree with Mike that you just clarified that, but I do want to clarify what you said about adding, does it pertain to a renovation if you're adding on, say, an in-law or a larger addition that's over 200 square feet? Because as we all know, those happen often.
Not if you're still talking about a single-family home.
Okay, so if it's a single-family home and you want to put on an addition and it's 500 square feet,
Nope.
it's not going to,
Nope.
if
You're doing
add on-
an addition to a single-family home.
Okay,
So
and
anything
if you increase your driveway, your parking spots to 6 and not 5, doesn't pay. Okay, all right.
anything you do to a single-family home is excluded from the provision for site plan.
Okay, thank you.
Christine Watkins, 65 Plum Road. Just to clarify, so the lid development that was just approved at the top of Purgatory Road, that was optional for them, so this wouldn't apply to new multifamily subdivisions that were going in that might want to be under a lid. Are we moving in that direction? So, you know, if there's something that is going to go on a piece of property right now, and it's going to be 40 houses, and it's going to have private septic and wells, this wouldn't apply to that, because isn't that new subdivision going to have swales and all that, and they opted for that, even though it's residential? Yes.
So again, site plan review, if you look at our site plan review bylaw, that regulates primarily commercial and industrial development as well as multifamily development. So like a condominium complex, an apartment complex. And then we have another provision called subdivision control law. The project you're talking about, Compass Rock on Purgatory Road, so a 31-house open space subdivision, that applied under our subdivision control law because they were creating a new roadway and new house lots off that roadway. This bylaw would not apply to subdivisions in the town of Sutton. You will see within the next 5 to 7 months a public hearing advertised to incorporate some of these lid standards into housing subdivisions. As Ms. Watkins noted, that developer voluntarily incorporated in a lot of low-impact development measures because it's just really a land-friendly, maintenance-friendly, and frankly, cost-friendly during development measure. So this bylaw will not affect subdivisions. This is only primarily for commercial, industrial, and multi-family housing. But we will be proposing through the public hearing process changes to our subdivision control law to incorporate some of these standards as we move forward.
Hello, Ted Bobet, 34 Arm Street Road. I'm also served currently as the president of the Blackstone River Watershed Association. And I just want to speak in support of this. I think low-impact development has been coming along in the Commonwealth and in a number of adjacent towns. And it's a good thing. It's, we value the setting that we have here in Sutton. We want to keep it clean. We want to take care of the waters and the watershed. And I think this is, a small step in that direction. And as Jen points out, if these concepts are brought into the design phase, you can actually save money and end up with a better result. And for that reason, I support this.
Anyone else? All right. This will require a 2/3 vote. So, all those in favor of Article 15, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Okay. Article 15 passes by majority vote, or the 2/3 required vote. Sorry. Article 16.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend zoning bylaw section 4B5C, parking regulations by deleting the language shown in strike through and inserting the underlying text as printed in the warrant.
Board Advisory Committee, your recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 6-0 to recommend passage of this article. The committee concurred with the planning board's recommendation.
And Planning Board.
Planning Board voted to recommend that town meeting vote to approve this article 500. Low-impact development measures can easily be integrated into parking lot elements, so the board felt these regulations were in place to encourage their use. Additionally, the board is taking the opportunity to amend item 1 to consider perimeter landscaping in item 3 to accommodate typical snow plowing operations while still requiring interior landscaping to break up expanses of pavement.
Thank you. Now open for discussion. This will also require a 2/3 vote. All those in favor of Article 16, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 16 passes by unanimous vote. Article 17.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend Section 6 of the zoning bylaws, special regulations, by adding Section Q, special events facility, as printed in the warrant.
Second.
Recommendation.
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 6-0 to recommend passage of this article. Again, the committee concurred with the planning board's recommendation.
And Planning Board, your recommendation.
Planning Board voted to recommend that town meeting vote to approve this article 500. This article allows owners of properties with at least 40 acres to host private events if they are granted a special permit. The board felt this was a use that might aid in creating revenue streams to property owners, which may provide them with an alternative to selling off these larger parcels for development.
Open for discussion.
Thank you. First, I want to say thanks to the members for advertising the town meeting so well and sending out the flyer. It was very helpful.
Can we ask you to state your name?
Oh, sorry. Susan Davis, 454 Boston Road.
Thank you.
My question, I've read this several times, and it wasn't clear to me, does this mean it's only pre-existing structures, or can new structures be built?
I believe new structures can be built, correct?
Yes, new structures
Yes.
can be built.
So do these then, would they fall under the article that we just approved, talking about landscaping, Article 14?
Yes.
15? Yes, 15.
If it does apply, yes.
I wasn't, see, it's not clear to me, so this, so if I had 40 acres and I wanted to build a park barn, that's not a single-family home, and I would have to come under the 5,000 square feet, et cetera.
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Donna Rossio. I live at in Sutton Center at 314 Boston Road and have been a longtime member of the Sutton Historical Commission. I have listened to a lot of discussion of Article 19 and more specifically the bylaw E, Sutton Center Village Overlay District, and have heard that the historic building protection is some sort of great.
So we're actually on Article 17? I think
We're not doing Article 17?
You want to go to Article 19 before that?
I thought it was 17, is that 19 or what?
That's the one.
Okay, just gave you a preview.
Stay on Article 17. Any other discussion? And make sure to take an ensign. This will require a 2/3 vote. All those in favor of Article 17, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Aye. Article 17 passes by the 2/3 required vote. Article 18.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend the zoning bylaw section 3A4, table 1, table of use regulations by adding the underlying text as printed in the warrant.
Mr. Moderator, the committee voted 6-0 to recommend passage of this article. The committee concurred with the planning board's recommendation.
Any recommendation from your hearings?
The planning board voted to recommend that town meeting vote to approve this article 500. These are the districts the board feels are appropriate for this use, given the availability of appropriate sized parcels and/or consistency of uses within the district.
Open for discussion. Again, 2/3 required vote. All those in favor of Article 18, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article Act 18 passes by unanimous vote. Article 19.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend Sutton Center Village Overlay District map as it is part of the zoning map of the town of Sutton to expand the area of the Sutton Center Village Overlay District by adding properties identified on the map on file in the Office of Town Clerk entitled Sutton Center Village Overlay District Proposed Expansion, Fall 2023.
Moderator, the committee voted 6-0 to recommend passage of this article. The committee concurs with the planning board's recommendation.
The planning board results of their hearing.
Planning board voted to recommend that town meeting vote to approve this article 500. Several residents adjacent to the district requested 9 additional parcels be added to the Sutton Center Village Overlay District. These additions are intended to benefit the town by providing for architectural controls that are in keeping with Sutton Center Village, while allowing the potential for limited, smaller-scale commercial uses as detailed in the existing bylaws. No changes are proposed to the bylaws enacted by Sutton voters in 2019, only the addition of these 9 parcels to the district.
Thank you. Open for discussion.
Robert Nutter, 24 Secretary Ave. I'm a resident of Sutton Center, been here for decades. I am opposed to this article. I didn't have a problem years ago when the Sutton Center store and Polly's Antiques was put into this particular grouping, overlay district, because they were existing. True, hundreds of years ago, there might have been other commercial uses in several of the other homes in this area. But in my lifetime, all the houses in this particular district and the surrounding areas have been residential. Years ago, well, first of all, when the town adopts a particular bylaw like this, or you make a change in the zoning, you really have to look at the table of things that can be put in here in the future. And some of those things, in my mind, are quite disturbing. Years ago, a couple of friends of mine encouraged me to go to a particular restaurant that they liked. Lindy's Restaurant in Rhode Island. Lindy's Restaurant was in a 2-story house, much like several of the homes that are in this proposed district. The first floor had a bar, had 7 tables. A total of 33 people was the seating capacity. But very rarely, in the times that I was there, that there wasn't 50 people in that area. This is a great place to go to eat. I can't say enough about the place, how much I liked about it. But I sure wouldn't want to live next to it, because I was there the day before Christmas to pick up some food for a party. I was there at 11 o'clock. At 11:15, all the seats in that place were full. The parking lot was full. And almost every time I went to that place, the parking was a serious problem. There was only one house to the right of it, and a number of houses to the left. This particular use is one of the uses allowed, a tavern. I just don't think that, given the amount of commercial property areas that we do have in town, that this is appropriate to take this area that is residential, with 2 exceptions, and make it a commercial area. Maybe years before that happened, the people that live there, that would be involved here, they may get an offer to sell the property to a commercial use. They're going to move out, sell it for a profit, I presume, and they're going to move to a residential area elsewhere. And the remaining people that are in the area have to deal with the situation. I think the area's been residential for 200 plus years. I would like to see it stay that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's do this again.
I'm going to try this again. My name is Donna Rossio. I live in Sutton Center at 314 Boston Road. I've lived most of my life in Sutton. particularly in Sutton Center, and I'm a longtime member of the Sutton Historic Committee. I have listened to a lot of discussion of Article 19, and more specifically, Bylaw E, the Sutton Village Historic Overlay District, and have heard that the historic building protection is some sort of trade-off with extended commercial property uses. The bylaw, in fact, is more geared for economic development with preservation of historic buildings as a side note. I'm not sure how I ever voted for this bylaw, except it was and is a perfect fit for the small Sutton Center commercial district. That is the overlay district, current overlay district, and is also the historic commercial district in Sutton Center. I cannot say the same, and it is, I cannot say the same for tonight's vote, which would extend business uses into our historic residential area. I will vote no for pizza places, gift shops, and other businesses in the residential sections of the Sutton Center National Historic Register District. There should not be a trade-off of this kind involved in planning for preservation, and I suggest we revisit this bylaw before adding any properties to the overlay district. I urge you to vote no with me, and I thank you.
I'm Joyce Smith, 35 On Hollow Road. I own 324 Boston Road and 324 R Boston Road. I don't intend to open a restaurant with 55 people that are sitting at the downstairs of my house, but I do think that this would give you options and would protect some of the architectural integrity of houses in Sutton Center. So I'm in favor of it because it gives you options. Thank you.
Thank you. Jen, just so I'm clear, what this is actually an additional, is it 9 properties?
Yeah.
That want to be included in the district overlay that already exists.
Yeah.
So this is no changes to the overlay itself. We'll make sure everybody knows exactly what they're going to do. Yes, sir.
Michael Gagan, 8 Foxman Road, also a member of the planning board. I did want to just point out for everyone else here that the parcels that look to be included have been connected physically with parcels that are already part of this district. We did have a few other inquiries and other people who were close to the neighborhood were asked to be included, and they were not allowed to be part of this because they're not physically connected to what's already existing in the district. So I just want, I think that's a point to be clear for people to know it can't pop up all over different parts of town.
Thank you.
Today, 21 Gulf Ridge Drive.
We have to use your lawyer rules.
My elocution losses, I think it's about both parents Andrew Tay, 21 Gulf Ridge Drive. I've listened to all of you, and I've also listened very carefully to planning and zoning's suggestions on this and your evaluation of it. And my conclusion is that maybe we need to look at this a bit more. Mainly because on the Sutton website and in all the materials that Sutton uses when we talk about ourselves, there's 5 keywords. We start out with Sutton is a rural town. And if it is our goal to preserve the integrity of our buildings architecturally and the look and feel of a rural town, when you expand commercial uses, however small, and for however good reason, because I understand initially that we were trying to help some owners to have perhaps a little more valuation of their land, but for whatever reason, we also need to make sure that the use is compatible with the larger areas in which the property is located. From a purely architectural standpoint, an owner who wishes to preserve their historic value of their property and their architectural integrity can do that by placing an easement, right? A binding contract against their property to always maintain it in a certain fashion. From the discussion on this, I'm not sure that that was the primary reason. So I'm asking all of us today to kind of take a step back from this. If the current owners are not putting in restaurants and are not going to stand the commercial use, then there may be no jeopardy. But if they sell the property, we may not be able to control it. And maybe the question is to take a step back and really consider what we want to do. And remember that that area right there is the centerpiece of who we are. And what we say we are is Sutton is a rural town.
Anyone else?
Carol Garcia, 77 Little Hill Road in Sutton. And just to add to what this lady was talking about, as far as increasing the commercial use of this overlay district, I'm assuming that there's going to be more traffic. And I'm kind of looking forward in my mind of street lights in the center of Sutton. Bump outs, more signs. I just don't want Sutton Center to look like Millbrae.
Hopefully nobody from Millbrae is watching this. You're going to get kicked out of every restaurant in Millbrae. Anyone else? Okay. This is also going to require a 2/3 vote. And again, if there's an issue, then we can have the tellers who've already been sworn in. Right now, I'm going to ask all those in favor of Article 19, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. I would say that it does not pass by the 2/3 required vote. So that is the last article that we have for today. Before you go, as always, I want to thank all of you. Great crowd today. I will give Ms. Watkins a little bit of kudos for trying to get everybody kick-started on attending town meetings. And thank you for making my life easier by becoming educated on the issues. So again, thank you. So, motion to adjourn.
Mr. Moderator, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor? Aye. All those who want to stay here all night?